All right. Well, let's go ahead and start this. I'm going to do this. Hope you guys are all doing well. My name is Michael Hearst, and thank you to the very first episode of Snack Time with Michael Hearst. I have this lovely snack here that my wife made me, some blackberries and a homemade muffin, a cranberry muffin. I know you guys are jealous. So yes, I hope you guys have a snack of your own. And thank you for being here. As some of you know, I've written a few books, Unusual Creatures, Curious Constructions, and Unusual Creatures, and Extraordinary People. And today I'm going to read from Extraordinary People. I thought the first person that I should talk about, by the way, this book is extra extraordinary and unusual because they printed the text upside down. How's that? That's why it's my copy. So today I thought I would talk about Jane Goodall. You guys know who Jane Goodall is? She is amazing. She is extraordinary. Jane Goodall was born in London, England in 1934. Jane Goodall is without a doubt world's leading expert on chimpanzees. How did she get this rank? She is a chimpanzee. Not really. I made that up. But she has spent enough time in the Gombe forest in Tanzania to witness the lives of 3 generations of chimps. 3 generations is like grandparents, mom and dad, kids. That's a long time. In fact, there's about 60 years altogether. She was the first person to discover that chimpanzees not only use tools to hunt for food, but they also make their tools. Before Jane Goodall started visiting the chimps in Tanzania, it was believed that only humans use tools, but it turns out chimpanzees use tools as well. A ton of coverage from magazines and films helped turn Goodall into a star, and today she runs the Jane Goodall Institute, which is devoting her time to advocacy for chimpanzees and the environment. So we're very lucky to have Jane Goodall. This is one of her good friends. So I have a little quiz here. I like to have little quizzes in my books, and I thought this would be fun to have a little quiz for you guys. Okay, so I have 3 quotes here. Which of these quotes did not come from Jane Goodall? 1, my mission is to create a world where we can live in harmony with nature. Do you guys think that came from Jane Goodall? It did. One of her famous quotes. Okay, here's 2. I wanted to talk to the animals just like Dr. Dolittle. Yes, that's also true. Do you guys know Dr. Dolittle? It's now a movie. It's probably been several movies, but the story of a man who could talk to animals. And that largely inspired Jane Goodall. 3, did Jane Goodall say this? 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4. 4 banana makes a bunch, and so do many more. No, she did not. That is actually the lyrics from the theme song to the 1960s TV show, The Banana Splits Adventure Hour. But probably Jane Goodall has sung that at some point in her life. Okay, so in 1960, Jane Goodall witnessed chimps removing leaves from termite mounds, using twigs and leaves to fish for termites from termite mounds. After reporting Goodall's discovery, British archaeologist Louise Leakey famously responded, now we must redefine tool, redefine man, or accept chimpanzees as humans. We know chimpanzees are not actually humans, but they are very close to humans. All right, so here's a fun thing. And this is good because I had some questions, and I want to answer these. We had a few. One was actually from my son, Nathan, and another was from a girl named Mira, and they both were very similar questions. They were, how did Jane know what the chimps were saying? And that was one from Mira. And my son said, how long did it take Jane to understand what the chimps were saying? And those are very similar questions because, first of all, Jane could not actually speak with the chimps. That involves language, and chimps do not have a language like we do. We have words to speak. Chimps do not have words. But they are able to communicate in different ways. And they communicate by embracing and body language. You guys know what body language is? It's moving your hands and communicating with everything but language, pointing at things and even making sounds. And chimpanzees do have a sound they make, a vocalization, and it's called a pant hoot. pant hoot. You ever heard that? So a pant hoot is that sound. I'm sure you've heard it. It goes a little bit like, that's my version of a pant hoot. Have you, you guys can practice a pant hoot at home. I'm going to play an example of a pant hoot for you. This is kind of fun. Let's see. And this is a very improvised. Here we go with sounds and improvisation. So this is a pant hoot from an actual chimp. So that's a pant hoot. And chimpanzees will make the sound for several reasons, but the main reason is really it's just their way of saying, hey, hi, hey, what's up? I'm over here. And one will do it to call it to another, and they'll do it to say, we're all hanging out over here. We found this fruit tree. Come over to this fruit tree where we are. Jane Goodall learned how to make this sound. And to answer my own son's question of how long did it take her? Well, Jane Goodall spent a lot of time at first just hiding behind trees and using binoculars, but then ultimately she welcomed into the chimps community. And slowly she learned how to make gestures like they were making, and they made them back and forth, and she was welcomed into the community. And she actually got to know all these chimps and started to name them, these 3 generations. Another question I got was from Hollis, which said, did she have a favorite chimp? And she did. She had, there was an older chimpanzee named David Graybeard is what she called him. And he was the first to really welcome her into the community. And here's a recording of Jane making a pant hoot and talking a little bit. Let's see. Here we go. Oop. Amateur Hour with Michael Hearst.
Gombe National Park in Tanzania. The sound that you would hear if you came, some of you have been, but if you go to Gombe and climb the hills in the morning, the sound of a chimpanzee greeting the day, announcing, here I am, who's out there? Hello.
So that's the great Jane Goodall explaining the pant hoot. Okay, so I have written songs. For all my books, I also have written songs for many of the subjects, and they're available as albums. The books are available from Chronicle Books, and the songs are, they're available on CDs, but mostly digitally at this point. And there's a song for Jane Goodall, which I am going to play for you guys. And thank you for your 4 thumbs up. I appreciate that. So I'm not going to sound as awesome as Tanya Donnelly, who sings it on the album, but it's a sweet song. I hope you guys like it. Excuse me. Won't you pant hoot for me, Jane Goodall? Won't you pant hoot for me, Jane Goodall? The seas may rise and the skies may fall, but here in the jungle we'll do just fine if you'll just pant hoot for me, Jane Goodall. She spent lots of time in Tanzania with 3 generations of chimpanzee. She learned their skills, their tricks, their traits, and soon she learned to communicate. Won't you pant hoot for me, Jane Goodall? Won't you pant hoot for me, Jane Goodall? The seas may rise and the skies may fall, but here in the jungle we'll do just fine if you'll just pant hoot for me, Jane Goodall. Here come Flint and Fifi and Flo, along with Jane, it's quite a show. Rocks and sticks and gooey glue, we use tools like humans do. Won't you pant hoot for me, Jane Goodall? Won't you pant hoot for me, Jane Goodall? The seas may rise and the skies may fall, but here in the jungle we'll do just fine if you'll just pant hoot for me, Jane Goodall. All of the things we've learned to be, I'd gladly give back for living free. hunting for grub, just you and me. Under the shade of the ironwood tree, together we'll sing in harmony. For here in the jungle we'll do just fine if you'll just pant hoot for me, Jane Goodall. That's the Jane Goodall song. Now that you know what a pant hoot is, it all makes a lot more sense. Okay, so I am hoping to do this the first at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday. I will have a new subject from one of my 3 books, and so I'll be back on Monday. And if you are willing, I do have a Patreon account, and you can chip in to help keep this alive as well as all my projects. The books are available from Chronicle. The music is available online, and please feel free to email me any questions or concerns or comments. And thanks to Jason Bitner and Dan Miller and Kelly Eudailey and Nathan Hearst and Julian and Julie Landau for letting us stay in their house while we escape Brooklyn. Big love to all of you guys. Take care.